Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined by a very special guest today, Hailey Hackett, comedian, friend, fellow co-working social club member. We're here now.
We're here. Thanks for having me, dude.
It's great to have you, dude. Congrats on your recent legal... No? What?
We're not talking.
Oh, we're not talking about it.
That's fine, though. Yeah.
Okay.
We did something extremely important and extremely secretive.
Okay. Cool. Already started off on making it weird, but...
So sorry.
Should we
start over?
No, we're in it now.
Yeah.
I don't want to start over.
Just move through the mosh.
I guess I didn't clear it with you. I guess I just thought it was a normal thing to say.
Oh, it's totally normal. I think speaking of boundaries, I didn't,
Can we talk about your dog?
We can definitely talk about my dog.
I think this is one of the most likable things about you. You have a dog who is evil. He barks at everyone, and you're not allowed to look at him. Fair. I'm not allowed to look at him. I was advised not to look at him because he doesn't like to be looked at. He gets very angry. And then you'll sort of get defensive, like you're making this face right now. But then you did name him Lucifer, which is sort of an admission of guilt.
Well, we named him Lucifer before we knew how much trauma he had.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You just went, why'd you go Lucifer?
Because my partner was like, we should name him Lou. And I was like, Cifer.
Got it.
And I just thought it would be fun because he's this 5-pound little Chihuahua corgi mix.
Is he 5 pounds?
Not anymore. When we got him, he was the size of a shoe. He didn't know how to play. He couldn't walk on a leash. He was just dead weight all the time.
No.
He was perfect.
No.
When no one else aside from us was around, he was perfect. But then, he's deeply disturbed. And
he really is.
Yes.
But he's made progress.
He's made a lot of progress. Now, is that progress in the eyes of general society? No. But we've seen progress. He plays now. He went on a walk with another dog, and he did bite him. But
okay. Well, it wasn't lethal.
No, it wasn't lethal.
He's growing. He's learning.
He is learning.
He's becoming better,
Day by day, he is becoming better. And to be fair, eye contact is very threatening for a dog.
Okay.
Eye contact's threatening for some humans, even.
I guess. I'm not going to say... you're not supposed to stare at the gorillas, and I always do. I want a gorilla to fight me at the... What's it called? The
zoo?
Yeah.
Why do you want a gorilla to fight you? Do you think he'd win?
No, but I just want to... I stare at the gorilla, and I'm like, what? What, are you going to jump over the ravine? You're going to jump over the fence? No, you're not. No, you're not. I'm not afraid of you from here.
There it is. So from there.
Yeah, of course. I'm not going to fight a gorilla. They're very powerful.
Yeah, but Lou isn't all caged up.
Oh, little Lou.
And Lou is as powerful as a 500-pound gorilla.
He really is.
He
has a ferocity.
So strong. It's like the low to the groundness. He's quick, he's speedy, and he will sacrifice himself for the name of murder.
Well. Yeah. He's quite a chihuahua. He's a chihuahua.
I have no clue.
He's a chihuahua.
He probably is.
We've had really good discussions on interpersonal relationships, and I've been very excited to have you on the pod. And one of the things you said, which I loved, I don't know if I'm going to really quote you exactly right here, but the idea was kind of we set boundaries, and boundaries really are sort of saying this is the relationship I'm capable of having, and it's kind of based on the relationship they're capable of having, and that's love. And I loved that because it's kind of, I think boundaries can seem maybe controlling or defensive even, or that you're pushing someone away. But I like the way, when you put it that way, I was like, God, that's so true, because you're saying I want you in my life, but you just got to follow my little rules.
Yeah. And you're telling people how to get closer to you. And I think, to be fair, I think boundaries can be really controlling. And I think people use boundaries incorrectly at times, because a lot of people will hear about relational limits. And then they'll go, great, my boundary is that you have to always do this thing.
Oh, I complain about this constantly. Yeah, that's a rule or a standard.
Not a boundary. That's control.
That's not a boundary, yeah.
What wise quotes do you really like? What have been sticking with you recently?
I'm a big righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. I think about that one a lot. This is a banger, knocked it out of the park. But I think I stole this take from David Foster Wallace, who said that cliches contained wisdom. And one of his quotes that I like a lot, which is, the term well-adjusted is not an accident.
go into that. The term well-adjusted is not an accident.
Yeah.
Say
the
more.
term well-adjusted is not an accident. Yeah, the idea is we come out of the box, trauma response with maybe brutish impulses from our genes, from our experiences, from our formative years with our parents, and so we have to become aware. I mean, I think this is why I do think you are wise, and you said, oh, well, I made mistakes. But we all make mistakes. We all fuck up. It's how we learn from the mistakes that speaks to character and speaks to the willingness to grow. And that's, I think, where we get to the good stuff.
Don't you wish you never made a mistake, though? Just once in. Like, do you ever just, sit in that, maybe, what if I was perfect? Do you ever think about that?
I would like to be able to play the piano.
Oh, you just want to be perfect at certain things. I think
if I was perfect, I wouldn't spend all day reading stupid fucking memes. I would finally do the things that I think are beautiful, and there's something soulful and poetic about a piano,
Oh, what you just said is so interesting. If you thought you were perfect, you wouldn't spend time doing what I'm guessing you're saying you do now.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple, my little internet drugs. I'll check the Reddit popular page. I'll go on Google News every day and read just stupid shit. I shop. I have a couple shopping. I have my one wheels. I'm always looking at one wheel parts. It's garbage.
Do you jack up your one wheel?
Yeah, you can soup it up.
How do you? I saw another person on a one wheel a few days ago, and from far away, I thought it was you. It also looked like you.
Guys 5'8" guys love one wheels because
it
makes us taller.
Is that what you soup up your one wheel to do? Just inches?
Yeah. I'm trying to be 6'4" on a one wheel. She don't need to know I'm on it.
You only talk to chicks on a one wheel?
She's like, "Where's your feet?" I'm like, "I hover, babe. I'm like a Dementor, I'm like a good Dementor." So excited. We've got kind of some situations here that I pulled from our subreddit. Hailey found this one. Our second story of the day. Hailey's going to read it. AITA if I get birds instead of helping my sisters. I mean, people, what does that even mean? But first, please rate, review, subscribe to us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. Here we go. AITA for not being friendly with my partner's daughters now that they've warms up to me. I, 42, am dating Tim, 59, a widower. He's in banking. I'm a bartender. I know what it looks like. His two daughters thought the same thing. But he's broke as a joke and I've got a trust fund. So actually, no. He's broke because his late wife got cancer thrice. He ran up 6 credit cards, second mortgage on the house, cashed out his retirement, everything and anything to get her the treatment she needed, and then to get treatment enough to see both daughters married. His daughters live 6-hour drive away. We drove to them for Xmas last year and the year before. They ignored me, dragged him away when he tried to include me, and prevented their husbands from making even small talk with me by talking over me. Year 1, Tim chastised them. They apologized to him, not me. They blamed the pain of seeing their dad with a woman who wasn't their mom. Year 2, they did it again. This year, I told Tim not again. He could go. I would never ask him not to see his daughters for Christmas, but I'll stay here. Tim didn't love the idea because me going with him means we can share the responsibility of driving when his back starts to bother him. He hates flying. His 2010 Death Trap, that's the car joke, is starting to go anyway, so I leased him a comfy luxury ride. My brother has a dealership. He called the girls, super excited that he'd be able to see them more often without having to worry about his back, who then blew up and accused him of spending their mother's money on a bullshit house and car to impress some bimbo bartender, and didn't offer them a dime for their weddings. In the ensuing argument, it came out they assumed there had been a life insurance policy, nor did they have any idea about the credit card debt or the second mortgage that the house was underwater on, or that Tim was looking at foreclosure and bankruptcy until he moved in with me. They didn't realize it was my house, that he pays no bills, save the water bill, man takes excessive showers, and shared groceries. Now the girls want my number. They're sorry I felt lonely at Christmas. They want to come visit and stay with us next year, conveniently in summer. I live near a beach. I've told Tim absolutely not about giving out my number. I'm happy to be polite if they come to visit Tim, but we're not going to be friends. If they had talked to me for even 2 seconds, they'd have understood. I'm not shy about admitting the only thing I've ever contributed to my blessed financial state is, quote, not developing a crippling coke addiction like my cousin Danny did. Tim thinks I'm being too unforgiving. They would have warmed up to me eventually, but knowing how generous I am being with their father has made them warm up quicker. I maintain I don't care about now or later. They've had their chance to not be catty brats over incorrect assumptions that I was taking advantage of him. AITA.
Whoa.
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 Did we get how old the daughters are?
I don't know. We could go peek in the comments and see what we can find, but it looks like he's 42, so they must be something like 20. I mean,
he could have been an old dad.
Well, so you're saying he could be 18? Oh, no, Tim's 59.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they could be 40.
Yeah. And they could also be 20.
That could be 20 to 40, and that is the nature of males and their habits. But let's just assume a more average number, which is that they would be 25. I feel like that's pretty reasonable of an assumption. I think my issue here with OP is, and this is something that we haven't actually talked about too much, is this is kind of a proxy relationship. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but it's a relationship that's mediated by Tim.
Yeah.
And that's causing a lot of issues for me because you never really know what's coming across. I mean, I think that it's a bad way to have a relationship with someone. You don't know them. You know, you're also replacing their mother. Like I feel like a part of me wants to be like, OP, you need to get a grip here because you're replacing their mother. That's gonna be contentious.
Yeah.
You know,
but are they? If they're grown adult women, then is she replacing their mother?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is really tough. I mean, I see you that they're adults, but the death of a mother is still, you know, the mother died tragically, you know. He's 59. So she was probably around that age. I mean, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any way around that, really. And I mean, assuming that's another issue. She's young. That's it. This is this is a documented pain point. Let's assume the daughters are, what, 35? Mm-hmm. Now daddy's dating a 42-year-old? Daughters don't like that.
I mean, that's super fair. Oh, there's so much here, though. There's so much here just in terms of like, okay, it's a hard situation. It's a proxy relationship. And I do wonder how much the OP invested in the daughters to actually try to build some form of like a good relationship or a neutral relationship, mm-hmm. even, which I think is the best you can do if it's slightly contentious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a very like, you know, OP at one point says he called the girls, you know, so these are the girls. I don't know how old they are, but I'm just kind of like, OP is kind of acting like these are her peers. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of on you to be the bigger person. I mean, even if there's a smaller age gap, let's say the daughters are 30, they're 35, I'm kind of like, well, you're kind of in the mommy spot. It's kind of time to act like a grown man and, you know, act like a grown person and try to make a peace treaty happen. You know, it's like, I don't know, there's another aspect of this where she's like, oh, isn't it convenient now? They want to be at the summer beach house and I live near a beach. And I think people do this thing sometimes where I'm like, okay, well, that's not really a mark against them. Is that really such a crime? Like the idea that, basically the idea is that like, just because someone has like a motive like that, that doesn't mean that that's their sole motive. You know, like let's just say I loved your dog and so I wanted to hang out with you a lot to see Lou.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah, that'd be so weird. That'd be so weird.
Why? I still like you. I'm not saying I don't like you. But if I like wanted to hang out with your dog, why would that be bad?
I would read that as weird. I think I'm trying to figure out why I feel that's weird.
Okay, let me frame it in my terms.
Sure.
If you were like really into riding one wheels and you just wanted to ride my one wheel, but we were still going to hang out over the course of doing that, I wouldn't be like, "Ah, you're just using me for my one wheel." I'd be like, I'm so happy like that you're enjoying this thing that I also enjoy. I'm like, I just feel like she's being very reductive and viewing it in the worst way possible. It's like, well, fine. Yes, it is convenient and they are like wanting to like use you for your beach house, but like they're also going to be spending time with you over the course of that interaction. Like, dog, if I don't like you, your beach house ain't bringing me over.
Mm.
You know?
Well, I think you said something earlier that to me makes this like a stronger point, which is that she's treating them like peers. And to me, at the end of the day, they are, let's say minimum, they're like 20, fresh 20.
If they're 20, good Lord.
You're expecting an amount of emotional maturity from someone extremely younger than you, who also, they have every reason to not be as interested in this human, the OP, right?
Yeah.
Just because of their own, emotional world, emotional trauma, daddy's being stolen away, all of these things.
Right.
So it's like, if I cared about my relationship with my partner's daughters, I wouldn't care about the motive to be able to spend time with them.
Right.
I would care about the opportunity to spend time with them. And then I would do my best to connect.
Yes.
100%.
I think that's a missed opportunity. I think she's taking this very personally. She's not really recognizing. I mean, we could also think about what is Tim saying and what is Tim projecting about this person. And I'm like, look, in the end, it's all about the one-on-one connection. And I'm like, you are like having a spat with someone in this bizarre way. It's a proxy war.
Well, I don't think she respects Tim. So, of course, she doesn't respect Tim's daughters.
Why doesn't she respect Tim?
Just the way that she's talking about him. Like the fact that at the end, she's like, I'm not using him for his money. You know where he was before he met me? Like credit card debt, second mortgage, bankruptcy. Like, I just feel like I wouldn't bring that up as much if I respected someone. I would try to build a more level idea of things. I just don't think it's as relevant to why she's angry at the girls. Am I crazy? Maybe I'm not. I was like holding in a cough for half of this, so maybe I didn't retain much.
No, I mean, I think that, look, this other line here, the only thing I've ever contributed to my blessed financial state is not having a crippling coke addiction. I'm like, don't understand the relevance here. I see a lot of like emotionality and hostility and just the lack of a level-headedness here where I'm like, I don't know what Tim did. It seems like this is complicated, but like this person's like, you need to kind of rein it in. This is this man's daughters.
Yeah.
I don't really think this is a realistic. If it's realistic, fine. But I don't think it's prudent. You're going to involve yourself with someone and then not be involved with their children and like be involved in a spat with their kids. It's like you are really barking up a dangerous spree with that bullshit. You're just going to cause all kinds of problems.
Yeah. I'm also rereading, and it's like he ran up so much for the cancer treatment. So that's why she's bringing it up. But at the end of the day, it's like, if this is someone you love, these humans are going to be in your life.
Exactly. I mean, we say you marry the family a lot. This is kind of inverse of that. It's the same thing, but it's just you rarely think of it this way.
Yeah.
You marry the family, which means the kids of your partner. Like, bro, I think she's being really difficult. I don't think I think really the ding here is the peers. I don't know what Tim did. It's not crystal clear to me. I don't really trust that maybe he admitted. It sounds like she might have like kind of covered his ass a little bit. Mm-hmm. And so I see a lot of potential resentment there. And that's where I'm thinking that you may be right. And that basically Tim was like, yeah, she's like a bartender. And the girls are like, she's the bartender. You're a banker. And he's like, well, yeah, she's a bartender. And so that's that. And he didn't disclose all the financial. He's obviously, because they didn't know about the second mortgage and all this shit. So then she has resentment because
she's helping.
She's fucking helping.
He's taking care of their father.
And he's not conveying that to the daughters. So she's like, why are these fucking entitled twerps who have no concept? And then the twerps think that just because of her role as her job, that
Mhm.
she's mooching off Tim. And so really the reality, actually, you know what? Fuck it. I'm coming for Tim. I'm fucking done with
Yeah.
Tim.
I think Tim's probably just trying to save his pride at this point.
Exactly. Fuck Tim. I honestly, I can't even blame the daughters. I think this is coming back to Tim.
But also, can you blame Tim for wanting to look or remain having this image of a superhero for his daughters?
Yes.
You can blame him for that. They've gone through so much.
I think he's
look at it through the lens of maybe
okay.
His daughters look at him as their rock, the one stable thing in their life, fighting for their mom, fighting for them.
Sure.
And that is maybe what is helping them feel safe in the world.
What makes a man, what makes a person, what is resilience is not saying I'm undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to face a problem. It's saying, yeah, there are problems, and we'll work our way past them. And that's it. We're strong enough to overcome the problems.
Mm-hmm.
To deny the problems, I think, is a move of pride and ego. And I think that this is a well that Tim has poisoned. That said, I still don't like OP's vibes, and I'm partly dinging her for these reasons. AITA for not being friendly with my partner's daughter. Now that they've warmed up to me, I am at everyone sucks here, meaning OP and Tim, not the daughters. I can't comfort them.
I would agree. I would agree that OP sucks. I get bad vibes. I think I'd probably give more credit to Tim. Just an understanding.
More negative credit, or you're saying positive?
I would give him more leeway.
More leeway.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just like I could understand, right or wrong. I just could understand as a parent wanting to feel like you're still able to provide for your children, able to provide safety, able to provide financially.
Sure.
I can understand embarrassment and shame around maybe not being in a better situation post the tragedy they experience. And I'm not saying it's right. I think what you said about it's actually a more it has more integrity for him to admit when things are tough.
Also throwing her under the bus, Hailey.
I know, but I don't like the OP, so it makes it a lot easier.
There we go.
For me, which may be a shallow, but yeah, I would say Tim and OP are assholes. I wouldn't blame it on the kids either.
I could live with that. Guys, thanks so much for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. All right, Hailey's going to read this one. The title is the best. Here we go.
AITA. If I get birds instead of helping my sister. I, 34 female, purchased a large Victorian manor fixer-upper a few years ago. It was a huge labor of love. Everything needed replacing from the roof to the studs. But little by little, I slaved over it, making it my own. At some point in the house's history, a very large glass atrium aviary was built in the middle of the house. It spans all 4 stories, doming out over the roof like a skylight. In it is a mature tree that reaches the 3rd floor, as well as a smaller vegetation, a small koi pond, and 2 benches. It is very much the focal point of the house. It's what sold me on the house in the first place. The renovations of the house are coming to an end, including the reconstruction of the atrium. Every month, a professional comes to check the thermostat and humidity, misters, water, pH, etc. On his next visit, he will bring the birds, teaching me how to care for them in between visits. It's a huge undertaking, and I'm very much up to the challenge. I have 2 sisters, Ashley, 25F, and Katrina, 36F. My relationship is strained at best with them, as I am usually a little more than a walking ATM to them. The past year, I have started to grow a spine, and they hate it. I no longer pay their rent and car notes, and I have stopped giving them allowances, asking them both to get jobs. They say family helps family, and I've done well for myself, so I should subsidize their lifestyles. Very expensive lifestyles, I might add. During recent conversations, I told them I was excited to get my new birds. I had birds, I had birds growing up and was eager to start this new adventure again. My oldest sister says what I'm doing is animal abuse, forcing birds to stay trapped inside when birds belong outside. She even threatened to call animal services on me. My younger sister chimed in saying what a waste of money it is, that I could be using the money to help my sisters, since I know they did not take a summer vacation this year that I usually pay for each season. They really went in on me hard, to the point where I wanted to cry a little. My younger sister felt a little bad and said she shouldn't have been so harsh, but I needed to hear the truth, and my older sister said she had nothing to apologize for. I left their apartment on bad terms. They are still really upset with me, saying blood is thicker than water, or in this case, birds. I'm worried I've become so caught up in the excitement that I'm being an asshole. With my sisters, there never seems to be an end to my responsibilities. It's exhausting. I just wanted some birds. But maybe they are right. Am I the asshole for choosing birds over my own sisters?
Well, the first thing that jumps out to me about this one is, I think we've talked about people pleasing. It's a big issue. It's out there. And I wanted to go into this thing of OP says the past year I started to grow a spine and they hate it. And I think this is
boundaries.
Yeah, I think, but it's a pain point. I think it's a pain point. And I don't think it's necessarily making the other person bad because it is disruptive, right? It's a disruption. If you're used to someone who's maybe a little bit doormatty, and then they start pushing resistance. Now, I think it's, of course, speak very poorly if you're like, well, if you're not going to be a doormat, I don't want you in my life. It's like, oh my God. But for them to be like, well, what the fuck? Or to be like, I don't understand what's happening. It's like that to me is a little understandable because you might be in a sort of, you've had this pattern, this overly giving pattern. So yeah, I was curious if you've had experiences like that.
Oh, definitely have had experiences like that where people react once you start, setting some boundaries. I think the main thing that bothers me about this whole story is the entitlement of the sisters. Because it's not just we have assets together, or we are I have my own thing. I have 200 kids and I need a little help. I'm sorry I had 200 kids.
200 is a lot.
It's impressive, honestly. Just multiple sets of sextuplets. It's not like that. They're asking for their lifestyles to be fed and for vacations to be bought. That's a little intense, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's so intense. I'm like, how do we get to that point? I mean, maybe OP was almost in a parental role with them. I don't know where the parents are. I mean, it seems like these two sisters kind of operate as a team as well, but the idea that she would pay their rents or car notes,
which is insane.
It's pretty insane.
And they're old enough to get a job. I mean, I would cut some slack for Ashley, the 25-year-old. Your 20s are crazy and insane. I could see a world where maybe she's figuring it out post-college or post just her life. But 36 and still asking for that is a little intense, I would say.
I think so. I mean, at times it's I don't know. I think it can be very enabling as well. Not necessarily of something so serious, but just of helplessness. It's you got to figure it out. I honestly, even at 25, I'm yeah, of course, it's one thing to let your sister be homeless. But that's not okay. Look, come stay in the house. But to be
stay in the atrium with the birds.
Stay in the atrium. Why don't you learn how to care for the birds, huh?
Care for the birds. If you don't like how they're being taken care of, you can come. I'll pay you a humble salary to have an ethical way of taking care of these birds.
Well, that's so what she argued, and I actually thought I wanted to avoid going into the nature. I actually have a joke about this. I don't know if you heard the joke, but it goes.
No.
I see eye to eye with animal rights people on one thing, keeping birds as pets. Oh my God, it's a bird. It has wings. Eat it. And
all right.
Yeah, so
Danny, do you do comedy?
I have.
That was good.
Yeah, thanks, Hailey. But yeah, it's kind of I see the intuition there, but I'm it's this thing that people do, which I think is manipulation.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what, though? That's not an issue. That has nothing to do with the issue.
Yeah.
You are attempting to bring up something valid or not that has really nothing to do with our interpersonal dynamic. Oh, well, you shouldn't be forcing birds to stay trapped inside when birds belong outside. And it's like, okay, really? Are you a bird activist now? All of a sudden, you know what I mean? Like, people will do shit like that. It's like relevance. No, this is never about the birds. This is about my right to have my own life. Like, fuck off.
Yeah. I think they're just assessing what she has at the end of the day and then critiquing it essentially to make a very feeble point about why they deserve to still take money from her. You know?
Monsters.
I agree. I think that the OP should continue to set boundaries and make the very painful decision to stop funding them.
Yeah.
And, maybe get an ethical advisor on for the birds, since with the extra money,
I mean, it sounds like a big atrium. I was like, of all the things to keep birds in, they're usually in a small cage. A big atrium, that sounds pretty good to me. I'm not a bird.
Like, doesn't it have some openings?
I don't know. But I certainly think an atrium. If somebody said, Danny, you're stuck in a cage, I'd be like, fuck me. But if they're like, you're stuck in an atrium, I'd be like, go on. Reminds me of a cruise I took once. Yeah. The atrium.
Also just in nature, pretty.
Sure.
They have care.
Sure.
It's not like she's just like storing them in a shoebox and hoping for the best.
Exactly. And we don't even know that they're well, I guess they can fly.
I wonder what kind of birds they are.
Maybe they're birds of paradise, which is a plant.
Should we say we don't have enough information because we don't know what kind of birds they are?
I don't think that's morally relevant. I mean, there's also a Victorian manor. I don't know if we have any jokes about that. Small koi pond. I mean, there's so much going on here. But yeah, really, I think this is a good boundary setting thing where it's like, yeah, I mean, this all their little tools of manipulation. Family helps family.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, girls, you need to develop your own shit. And yeah, I mean, the tools of the manipulators, they'll really come out and they'll find a way to get to you. And it can be a tough thing. I mean, I guess that's what we're talking about when I'm talking about like feeling out someone's boundaries versus pushing them. And I think feeling out can be more inquisitive or asking questions. Whereas once you start to go into like, well, you're forcing birds to stay inside. I'm like, no, that's pushing. You're attempting to like pull out someone's heartstrings and make them change their mind about a boundary.
Yeah, by bringing up irrelevant stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like there's also like a foundational issue. Like I think people with a lot of money do this thing where they start just giving almost to be generous.
Yes.
And I think it's very short-sighted, and I think it actually undermines a lot of respect in the relationship.
Ooh.
Like respect for yourself and how you've earned your money, and also respect for the competence of the people that you are giving the money to. Because like this person seems extremely wealthy. I would imagine she didn't just happen upon this,
well,
right?
Well, fixer-upper.
Well, I'm not even talking about the house. I'm talking about the money she has to buy the house, to do all the things.
I don't know about extremely wealthy, but yeah, maybe she's
to fund two young girls' lives, like herself.
Yeah, we don't know the exact mechanics, but yeah, she probably makes good money. She makes great money.
Okay, she makes enough money.
Yeah.
What I am saying, I'm assuming that this OP has wisdom to give to her younger sisters, tips on how to navigate money and the job market.
Right.
And I feel like that's much more helpful than just being a walking ATM. She's mad at them for treating her like a walking ATM. And I wonder if she taught them to treat her that way.
Well, she did. And I think that's what we're talking about when the people pleaser wakes up and they start saying like, hey, like I can't have this dynamic anymore. They grow the spine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've had it happen to me where I'm like, no, I can't deal with the way this relationship is going. And the person can either hear you or sometimes they don't. And then I'm like, well, if that's your view, then I guess we just can't be friends.
Yeah.
You know, they invalidate your emotion. But in the end, I think this one is kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah. AITA if I get birds instead of helping my sisters. I mean, I think you actually just painted a picture where honestly, this isn't really helping. And, we talk a lot about parents and fairness. And in a way, this is a kind of a parental relationship. And I mean, this is something that I've been saying for a while is, the gifts of mediocrity, which is that, I was privileged, upper middle class, but like my parents aren't loaded and they've helped me out at times. But, I didn't get to ride any kind of gravy train. And I think a lot of wealthy people, they don't develop work ethic and they are actually robbed of something because it's actually very satisfying to go out into the world, find a career, find a hobby, find a passion, and then be able to generate a living from it. I think that's sort of what we really want, sort of meaningful.
It's empowering. It helps us feel like our lives are important. It was important we were born to do a thing. Yeah. Otherwise, we're just chasing really easy dopamine.
Yeah.
Makes us feel better.
Cheap wins, and it fades fast.
It's so fast. You have to find it in bigger and faster ways.
You get something new, and then what is it?
Lambo, Tesla.
You get the private jet, then you hear about the private jet with the hot tub.
You got to get that.
You got to get that.
And then you have to buy a small island.
Ugh. And then you're a pedophile. That's where that goes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
AITA, if I get birds instead of helping my sisters, we agree. Not the asshole and the sisters are.
No, yeah.
They gotta rein it in.
But the OP should maybe analyze her role in all this a little bit and
true.
Get firmer.
She needs to get firm.
Really firm.
Err on the side of too firm, I say.
I would say, yeah. I think they feel too much access to saying their judgment on her life. It's strange.
Guys, please rate, review, subscribe to us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. All right, we're going to wrap up on this one. It's a little bit of grief. It's a little bit of Taylor Swift. Why not, folks? Here we go. AITA for not staying home for my Eras tour stop because my sister-in-law's mom died.
Ooh.
I'm currently on my flight to Indianapolis to see Eras on Saturday. I bought tickets last year and have been booked and ready with my outfit, friendship bracelets, etc. I've been looking forward to this so much as someone who has been a fan since Red. My sister-in-law, Grace, told the family last night her mom passed. It's heartbreaking. I lost my dad when I was 20, so I understand. I went over after work to be with them and also did their laundry and fixed them dinner. Before I left, I prepared a bunch of wraps to eat and some casserole. I was there until 2 a.m. and barely slept. I got a call this morning from Grace asking if I could come over and spend the morning with her. I told her, unfortunately, I had a few things I had to do before I could leave for my concert. She got quiet and asked me if I was still going to that. I said yes, I leave in 5 hours for the airport. She said she couldn't believe I could still think about a concert when she has just become an orphan with no one in the world but our family, which is true. I told her I'm sorry and that when I get back, I'll take a few days off to be with her if she needs, but this is something I've been looking forward to, and also my friends coming with me are counting on me for things like the hotel, rental car, etc. She got angry and told me I was a horrible sister-in-law and that she hopes when my mom dies, everyone abandons me too. I know this is the shock and grief talking, so I'm not mad. And when my dad died, I said some pretty chaotic things too. But as I'm sitting on this flight, I feel bad. I did everything I could think of before leaving to make the day-to-day banalities of life a little easier. There won't be a funeral, so there's no real big planning involved. AITA for still going on this trip despite my sister-in-law really not having a lot of other people to be there for her. Uh-oh.
This one's tough.
It's a little tough.
Ooh.
It's a little tough.
It's painful. It's painful because so it sounds like the sister-in-law doesn't have a lot of other people.
Your sister-in-law is like your sibling's wife. Is that right?
Yeah. No, or your like husband's sister.
Your husband. Oh, your husband. Oh. Your husband's sister.
Yeah. But if you're a close family, it's now your sister.
Yeah. Well, she got no one else. Well, I don't know. No one's, my brother ain't married, so.
Well, hopefully.
And I'm not married.
Yeah.
My one wheels. I guess my one wheel had a wife.
Your one wheel had a wife.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so wait, what's your sister-in-law again? Your husband. So it's her spouse's sister.
Maybe.
And then what else could it be?
What else could it be?
What else is a sister-in-law?
I think that's all.
That's what a sister-in-law is.
Maybe if your parents
got
your parent got married to another person?
No, it's stepsister girl.
Yeah,
Right?
you're right.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
Okay, so we've solved what a sister-in-law
All right.
is. And I think that, and she got nobody. She got nobody else. So her mom was her only family.
Wow.
Her mom and then this person's OP spouse.
Yeah, so where's the
Where's the spouse? Where's the spouse?
Yeah.
Where's the fucking spouse? Not even mentioned. Not even mentioned in the post. I have an issue with that.
I have an issue with that.
That's
too.
odd. I mean, for me, this is like, look, this terrible, terrible thing happened. This tragedy. I mean, this girl is so young, right? How old is Grace? Is Grace 20? No. Oh, he lost her dad when she was 20. We don't know how old Grace is, but still, she seems young. And I really do feel like OP did a lot. I actually feel like OP is being super reasonable too in saying like she did so much. She was up till 2. And
she
then
made a bunch of food. She said, I'm going to take off days when I get back.
You know, and then she also even was so mature about like this sister-in-law took pot shots at her and she's like, I know it's just shock and grief talking. I was like, God, that is so reasonable.
That's so reasonable. It's also wild to guilt trip her though. It's wild to be like, oh, I just saw you, for hours at my home. You just made me so much food. Like, I'm imagining they're having like good conversations. It sounds like they can relate on losing a parent.
I know, but that's kind of part of it. Right? Because she got nobody. So who's left? The spouse, who is probably heteronormatively a male.
Maybe.
So who's left? Her fucking brother. Wait, but that's her brother. So the brother just lost a mom too.
Yeah. What?
They're literally in the same situation.
I would love to know how. Like, I would love to know more about the family dynamic. Because this sister-in-law, it's starting not to make sense.
Why?
Because, okay, if your spouse's mother died.
If my spouse's mother died.
That would be a huge deal.
Yeah.
Like, huge.
My spouse's mother, that's my mother-in-law.
Yeah, your mother-in-law dies.
Sure.
I mean, it's still huge if your sister-in-law's mother dies. Maybe her spouse had a stepsister. So this is her sister-in-law, but step to the spouse. So it's not the same mother.
Oh.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's not a bad theory. Well, obviously they have a special point of connection because, I do find usually, honestly, even now I love my dad, but like my dad I go to for problems, but my mom I go to really more for emotional support. And there's something like your mom hits different. Women are kind of better at comforting, nurturing a little. Not always, but for a lot of contexts.
I don't know.
Especially when it's just like, I don't know, when it's like a problem is something where I need internal strength. That's more of a dad thing for me. But when I need to just like, God, if someone dies, it's like, well, someone's dead. It's not, I just need to get over it.
Yeah.
A mom is like a comfort blanket. It's like a fucking fetal position for a reason, people. It's nice and warm in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a different feeling completely. Yeah. One is like, let me soothe from the world. And the other is like, let me tell you how to deal with it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, it's so hard. Listen, tragedy happens. Tragedy happens to all of us.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
You're talking about the fact that the Eras Tour is in Indianapolis?
Yeah, oh my God. If only I loved Taylor Swift, then that would be truly
You're not a Swiftie, huh? I actually remembered that one.
Are you?
I like several of the songs by Miss Swift. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the whole dating the football man.
Really? That's my favorite part about her.
No, it's not her, and it's a commercial. It's the commercialization of her.
Wait, what do you mean? It's not her.
It's not her. I know her, and I don't know if you're familiar with the lyrics of the song where it's like the guy dating the cheerleader, and then she's like the weird girl, and I'm like, what happened to all that, Taylor?
Well, now she's the cool girl. So
I just always kind of thought I had a chance with her, and once she started dating that Kyle Travis, whatever the fuck his name is, I was like, oh,
wasn't it Travis Kelce?
I don't care. I don't fucking care about him.
Oh, you're like in love with Taylor Swift.
I'm not in love with her. It's over with us, okay?
Wow, parasocial relationships go
over.
hard,
it's not parasocial because she looked at me. She looked at me. Yeah.
When?
I met her. She's in my ChatGPT because I fed ChatGPT all her lyrics and my journals, and now she talks to me through ChatGPT. Anyway, I'm wanted. There's a warrant for my arrest. No, but anyway, something tragic happened, you were saying. I've lost Hailey. I got her.
I always find it very interesting when people choose celebrity crushes that are like the most famous people in the world.
I liked her before she was fucking famous, Hailey. I liked her like 4 years ago.
Like 4 years ago.
She was only the most famous person in the United States when I liked her. Now she's the most famous person ever.
But think about if you had a crush on like an indie artist that performs close. I don't know. It's just a possibility thing or probability thing.
No, I mean, I'm not really super into her. I don't think she would get my humor.
Her anymore?
No, I'm over her.
Since
I don't think she would get my humor.
Why?
Because she's like she's a little basic.
Oh.
Is that fair?
No, it's just
it's basic to date a Super Bowl boy.
It's also
that's basic.
It's also really basic once you stop liking someone to call them names. Danny.
I'm not calling her names. I think it's just an acknowledgement that she's kind of a mainstream girl.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see her on a one wheel. You know what I mean? I'm not even mad, Hailey. I want her to be happy. I want her to be happy.
What do you do if you want to ride with another person for one? Do they have two wheels for two people? I'm just saying.
That's called a scooter.
Mm.
Yeah. No, it's a one person vehicle. I mean, if someone was very light and I was a lot stronger, I could carry them. But
that wouldn't be dangerous?
Oh, it would be extremely dangerous. Anyway, going into the death thing that we're talking about and not my delusional relationship with, and I'm sorry I called her basic. I know a lot of you guys are upset. That's
I think
not
it's her
fair.
fault. It's too
I'm sorry, Taylor. And I love, and thank you to the listener who made me a custom Taylor Swift playlist because I only like the hits. I'm the basic one. That's the truth because I like, she wears short skirts, he wears sneakers, or whatever the fuck it goes. And what's the other one I like? The We're Never Ever Getting Back Together.
What about Teardrops?
No. I didn't like none of the Forest one or whatever the fuck they're called. She went all soft, but then I heard about No Body, No Crime, and that was a banger. And thanks to the listener, turned me on to that. That changed my life. No, that was art.
How did it change your life?
Because I was like, you know what? Goodbye Earl changed my life. And then this is like the new Goodbye Earl. I love a good song about killing a man, you know? And I'm going to kill Travis Kelce. Just kidding, Travis. I'm afraid of him now. Oh, there's a warrant for my arrest in the state of New Jersey. Grief. This woman died. I think, look, here's what I'm thinking. She gave her a griever pass. She's feeling guilty. I actually think she wrote this post because she's feeling so goddamn guilty. But I'm like, look, we all know how hard the Eras Tour tickets were to get, you know?
Yeah.
Hundreds of dollars.
I would even call it self-care.
Almost $1,000. What do you mean, going?
Yeah, going.
I mean, it's like religious for these people.
Yeah.
They're the true blue Swifties, and I probably just lost hundreds of listeners from saying what I said, and I'm sorry again. But it's like Mecca for them.
I just think that you can only do as much as you can do. And if you're willing to take away the things in your life that mean the most to you and that help you be sane and help you stay connected to community, you annihilate your ability to help anyone else.
Which feeds into what we were initially talking about.
Yeah.
You set boundaries because you love, and this was a boundary. It's like, yes, I feel for you. I'm here for you. And she did a lot.
And she's ready to do more.
And she's ready to do more when she gets back.
More.
But she has this boundary because the Eras Tour is important to her. And and knowing that you have to care about yourself, you have to be selfish.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing people waffle about. You have to be selfish. It's unhealthy to be selfless.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she's not even being fully selfless because it's interesting how she rationalizes the Eras Tour. Like, of course, she's like, I've, bought tickets last year, all this stuff. But her rationale for why she has to be there isn't, it is so important to me. It is, I've been looking forward to this, and my friends are coming with me and are counting on me for things like the hotel, rental car, etc. And so I wonder if she didn't feel such an obligation to help others, if she would feel guilt in a more grounded way. But at the end of the day, I think no one's an asshole. I think everyone's hurt.
Yeah.
Everyone's so hurt.
I think, I think I give a griever pass, but it is, it is something that maybe she should have reined in a bit.
Yeah, well, you're so
It's a griever pass. Yeah.
No.
Well, and I think it must have been especially hurtful too, just because she did relate. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's the worst part too. Because you probably are talking to all these people that think they can relate also. And they're probably saying some really
My parrot died.
Yeah.
I lost a parrot.
You could get a new mom.
Yeah.
I got a new parrot.
I got a new parrot. And I got him in an atrium.
Yeah.
AITA for not staying over my Eras tour stop because my sister-in-law's mom died. I think we agree that this we're giving griever pass here. We're giving a griever pass, and we're giving an Eras pass. And I'm sorry for what I saw. Don't be mad at me.
Here's a fucked up question.
Here we go.
Do you think the sister-in-law would be less mad if OP gave her ticket to the Eras tour or one of her friends' tickets to the Eras tour?
Did that? Yeah, did she want to go? Well, I was going to say that too, that we did a situation. I can't remember what it was, but you don't need to be sad. You don't need to sulk at home. And there's a notion, and Chris Calogero, God, this episode was so long ago, but it stuck with me. He said, we judge grievers a lot. We want grieving to look a certain way, and we want it to be sulky and sad, and how dare you? But, it's just horrible. It's horrible, and it's complicated. And if she said, I want to go to Eras, then you try to help her do that, because there's no right or wrong way to grieve, really.
I guess I just wonder if there's an amount of her that even feels like FOMO. Or like
totally, probably, right? I mean, who isn't it? You're like the one non-Swiftie I know.
Really?
I don't know a single non-Swiftie.
Huh.
I mean,
I know a lot.
It's a great shame
of non-Swifties.
I don't know if that's true.
I know a lot.
I don't know if that's true.
The people that
me and your partner Eric Lee are gonna go see the Eras tour tomorrow.
Have a great time.
We're excited. We invited you. No, but anyway,
I give my ticket to a griever, a local griever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think FOMO, even if she's not a Swiftie, I mean, it's fun. Who doesn't like to go to a concert with a bunch of your friends? Come on.
Get your mind off of it for a little bit. For a second. I feel like there's a relief in that when you're grieving for like a moment.
Yes.
To be somewhere else. I mean, and in a like healthy, constructive, like safe way. There's like, there's a bliss in it.
Yeah.
And you can cry. That's another thing about crowds that's like really nice about grieving. It's like there's so many people around you. So like you're the opposite of alone. But because everyone's focused on other things, you are the most alone. So you can have like your most authentic emotional experience with others. And that's beautiful.
Damn. I'm with that. I have weird thoughts when I'm alone with others.
Weird thoughts? What kind of weird thoughts?
I'll just start being like, I want to write right now. And I'll start writing little notes on my phone. I'm like, why do I want to do that now? I'm with all these people. Yeah.
You're around all this energy, but nothing's being expected of you. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's perfect. And you're all singularly like focusing on one thing.
Yeah.
There's an energy to that. I mean, I'm into all the woo-woo stuff. And I think there's definitely more about it that happens. Mass inspiration. There's a word for it.
Yeah, mass inspiration.
No, like when there's a group of people together in euphoria. I don't know what it is, but
there's a word.
There's a word
we
for it.
Believe in the word. All right, we agree on this one. No assholes here. Hailey, thank you so much for joining me. This has been everything I thought it would be, and I knew it would be great.
Thanks for having me, dude.
My pleasure.
This was great.
Guys, thanks for listening. And, do you want to plug anything? You want to plug your socials?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at hack, HACK, IT, Hailey, HAILEY. Hackett Hailey.
Love it. And Hailey often does my little stand-up show in Echo Park, so come through. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Bye.